Welcome back everyone. Last time when we talked about the Jagannath temple virtually, many wanted to visit that place physically. This time we are going to talk about a place for which we have to travel several light years to experience the unimaginable phenomenon. Every time I look up at the sky, I ask myself, am I alone? Are we alone? Like how Carl Sagan said, the universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, it seems like an awful waste of space. There are millions of planets, billions of stars, trillions of rocks, and an infinite number of objects hurtling through the space I see. Why can't there be life in even one of these? What if there is a person standing in that star, looking at the sky and wondering the same thing? With time, my thoughts evolve. Wait, whenever I stare at the sky, there are millions staring back at me. Now, I feel that each and every object in the sky has life. They are born, they live, and they die. In this video, we shall look at the life cycle of a star. The making of a new star starts in the very place its ancestors died, a nebula. A nebula forms from the debris of one or more dead stars. It is a dense, cold cloud of gas and dust. A tiny conflict arises between the particles of the nebula, marking the start of a mega process. Pressure pushes the particles apart, whereas gravity pulls it in. If pressure wins, then the star fails in its first hurdle against its making. The cloud will die and its particles will be consumed by other stars. On the other hand, if gravity wins, the star successfully overcomes the first hurdle. The small conflict becomes a fight, then a quarrel. Finally, particles unimaginable in proportions battle against each other. The battle is fierce and long. This process stretches for millions of years, and a human lifetime is not even a blink of an eye. Let's assume gravity wins. If otherwise, we cannot continue further. Gravity celebrates its victory by drawing particles to the center. Pressure does not accept its defeat and still attempts to shatter the particles apart. This causes something little less than a war among particles. The temperature rises rapidly to over 15 million degrees Kelvin, and there is a considerable amount of pressure. This causes the atoms to fuse and form a new element. A nebula is mainly made up of hydrogen. Here is a hydrogen atom, one proton and one electron. Now, you might think that a small family is a happy family, but no. All atoms have their own gravity. With this gravity, our small family does not keep quiet, but attracts other families. Here in the nebula, there is immense heat and pressure. So when two atoms get close, the nuclei would fuse together to form one nucleus. A complex reaction takes place and the two hydrogen atoms become one deuterium atom. Still, the pressure and heat is intense, so the deuterium atoms undergo further reaction to become helium atoms. This is the stage when the core of a new star starts forming. Atoms come close to each other on the center, resulting in the increase in density and temperature. As described earlier, the opposing forces don't give up easily. Hence, there are push and pull forces resulting out of the pressure and gravity. This duo is instrumental in preventing new particles from entering the star and existing particles from exiting. This results in the formation of a ring around the new star, and the pressure builds up. This pressure is similar to that of squeezing an orange with our hands. Like how the juice starts flowing, gases from the inside starts flowing out from the poles of the star. Gravity pulls more clouds of dust and gas towards the center and the star grows. This sets the ring spinning faster and faster. Our young star is surrounded by a lot of other stars, larger in size and with much higher amount of heat, light and energy. Their radiation starts influencing our star. It starts moving towards its neighbors due to their powerful gravitational pull. This is where the ring around the star plays a significant role. It aids in the protection of our star and also prevents it from ripping apart. It is the first object that faces the full heat, pressure, radiation and gravity from another adult star, so it slowly disintegrates at the surface for the star. If the ring survives, then it will become planets by a process called accretion. Now, let's demonstrate accretion through a simple experiment. Let's take this vessel and fill it with water. Now, I have these bits of paper. Now what I am going to do is stir the water so as to represent the rotation of the ring, and these paper bits which represent the particles in the ring. Now it is spinning, and as you can see, the paper bits are coming close together. This is the simplest way of looking at the process of accretion. This is what exactly happens in a star. This is how the galaxies form in the universe. This is how the stars form in galaxies, and this is how planets form around the stars, and this is how moons form around the planets. On the other hand, if the ring gets completely destroyed, then the star has to remain alone for most of its life. If the star grows big, then it might attract a few rocks or planets or even other stars and form its own system. Depending upon the gravitational power, the system might range from a few rocks to complex planetary systems like our solar system. In some cases, the ring is big enough to form another star. There are cases where more than two stars are formed from one cloud or ring. One example for this is Rigel, the brightest star in the Orion constellation. It is a group of 3 stars that we together see them as one. The ring around our sun survived and has given us our planets and our companions. After the ring is destroyed or used up, the star is naked. Then it starts swallowing gas from other nebulas, from smaller stars, planets, asteroids and comets. By swallowing these objects, the star grows. There is a saying in Tamil, "Alavukku meerinal amirthamum nanju," meaning that the amirtham is also poisonous in excess. This applies for the stars too. If the stars start swallowing too much, they will burst. This explosion will shatter each and every particle, leaving it to where it all started. This is how most stars die. Betelgeuse, the top right horn of the Taurus constellation, is an example of a dying star. It is believed that this star will explode in the next 100,000 years. This is a very short span of time compared to the other events in space. If I am alive when this star bursts, I will definitely share the video with you all. Some stars collide with each other. The gravity of the bigger star pulls the smaller star and they collide. There are cases where these two stars fuse to become one, but are very rare. Some get swallowed by bigger ones. If there is a considerable amount of reminders of a death star, then it will form a nebula and the process of forming a new star starts again. This cycle goes on and on and on. This is a life of a star.